So yeah. So kind of just chilling, kind of in the zone right now. There's a freeway, there's a creek. Do you want to see? Don't think I'm weird. I kind of just do stuff like this every so often. I was walking. There's a whole side ridge over there, little gully that I walked along to get over here. I'm gonna go that way in a minute. So no, I was just thinking about an idea that I've been thinking about for a while. Pretty interesting, to say the least. There's an experiment. I don't know what it's actually like officially called, but it has to do with like 5 monkeys in a room. I'll just explain it real quick because it's relevant. 5 monkeys in a ladder or some shit like that. So they put 5 monkeys in a cage and put a ladder in the middle of the room going up towards the ceiling where there's a thing of bananas hung, right? And every time a monkey tried to climb the ladder to go get the bananas, the one of the experimenters would come in and punish all of the monkeys. So then anytime one of the monkeys tried to go up, all the other monkeys would jump because they didn't jump the other monkey because they did not want to get punished by the experimenter. And eventually, after those monkeys had, sufficiently self-policed themselves to not go up the ladder, the experimenters didn't have to come in no more, for one, but for two, they took one monkey out and replaced it with a new monkey. And if that new monkey tried to climb up, the rest of them would beat that monkey up. And then they took out another monkey and put a new one in. And eventually all of the monkeys were new monkeys, and they were all kind of self-policing, keeping themselves from going up and getting any bananas. Even though the experimenters never came in, those new monkeys were never beaten by an experimenter, just the other monkeys, okay? It just became like a trend, a habit, like a thing that was passed on from the original generation, taught by one person who kind of started it, and then just passed down through the generation just by this is what I kind of call a de facto agreement. It's like all of those new monkeys have no idea why they do it. They were born into that situation where all of the monkeys were doing that, and so they just learned it. They picked it up. They just got with the program and picked it up and started doing it. And in the same way, we have a lot of traditions like that in the world, and a lot of stuff that somebody a long time came up with and people started doing, and then we're just born into the situation and we just pick up and we get with the program. And in the same way, all of those people, the person who started it, whatever, don't even exist anymore. You know what I mean? A lot of the traditions we have aren't even relevant because the problems or whatever that we created certain things as solutions for don't even exist anymore. You know what I mean? There's a lot of laws that are passed that are just really useless. There's weird laws that people have, you can't ride your horse in the park at past 3 p.m. Nobody has horses, but there's still weird laws like that. And there's a lot of stuff, and that's just laws. But there's a lot of traditions that we have that I feel like were started a long time ago and that were just passed on from generation to generation. And all the people that started it, for whatever reason they started it, probably don't even exist anymore. The people who started it aren't even around anymore. We're just born into it, and it's been passed on generation to generation. And that they probably could have, I don't even know, they might have taken the experiment further, and the new set of 5 monkeys that never saw the experimenter, they could be phased out too to a whole new set, and the same thing, it'll just keep being passed on. The monkeys ain't smart enough to see that. You know what I mean? The experimenter obviously is trying to make a point with that experiment, and it's relevant to talk about because there's so much stuff like that in our society, these traditions, whatever. And we have to examine our own situation. It's are we monkeys? Are we just so stupid we don't see our own situation? We don't see our own habits, our own traditions, whatever they are, and we're just upkeeping them for whatever reason. We're just oh yeah, you just don't do that. And it's why? You're afraid to ask why, and really get to the root of a problem. You just don't do it because we just never did that. You just don't do it. It's that's some stupid shit. That's some monkey shit. That's mindless, simple-minded behavior. And I talk about this a lot. I've already broke it. I ask why everything. I'm why we do all, and that's why I talk about so much weird stuff. I break out of the culture. There's a thing called I heard this the other day. It's a good word and it's a good concept. The Overton window. And that's basically what the fucking range of, shit that you can do in society is. What, if you're outside of the Overton window, you're out of line. It's It's like if you climb up that ladder for a second and even think about getting those bananas, oh, you're out of line, we're gonna slap you down, you know. It's like, dude, fuck that shit. Like, I like freedom. I understand who I am as a human, what I am as a human. I understand what this earth is, you know, in context of the cosmos. You know what I'm saying? I understand what the human species is, relative to, like, you know, the whole universe, how there could be other species and stuff. I'm not just like living in this little fucking window of experience. I'm like, dude, we can transform. I have the opportunity, being alive right now, to transform society any way I want to. You know what I mean? To fucking envision stuff and be creative and fucking transform the whole fucking thing, you know? And I understand that. I'm not gonna live in a little fucking window like a little fucking monkey. You know what I'm saying? That's fucking ridiculous. And a lot of people don't even see that. A lot of people are so fucking locked into their social nature. They're afraid to break free from social pressure. It's like, you're not like in the monkey cage, you're probably literally being beaten. Okay, in society, if you break a law, sure, you're gonna fucking get in trouble. You're gonna be locked up, whatever. But generally, you know, a lot of people are just afraid of social pressure. Like, oh, I don't want to be ridiculed, so I'm gonna act exactly like these people. I call it like there's a social fascism or a natural fascism, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of people, they're afraid to, like, they don't want to be they want to be part of the pack. We are social. We are pack animals. Our survival depends on being part of the pack. So a lot of people, they want to be like disowned or anything. So they stay within that Overton window, and they fucking you know, I'm gonna be cool and this. Even me, like, I'm still appealing to certain senses. Like, I'm still dressing relatively modern, whatever it might be. You know, I'm not just out here like I'm gonna go caveman and, you know, or whatever I might have even thought of doing, you know. A lot of people just go off next level. And, you know, what's true about this whole thing that I think a lot of people overlook is that we are a pack. You know, society is a pack. And these people who think outside of the box, outside of the Overton window, who are pioneers, who are new, who think differently, are the people who always, you know, drag that Overton window in a certain direction. You got people out here, like, who are pioneers or, you know, whatever, who will drag the whole fucking pack in a certain direction. And those are the real leaders in society, whether you know it or not. You know, one person always comes to mind, and I just don't know why he always comes to mind, but he's a good example of it. Prince, the musician, he was just so different. He came out with a whole sound, and it was just like, I don't know the whole history. I wasn't around in the 80s, but it sounds like, you know, he came out with a certain sound, and like a lot of people copied him. He like dragged the whole like situation in that direction, you know, a pioneer, a leader, whatever you want to call it. And it's always those people who are thinking outside the box, who are doing stuff new, who are, you know, we could either, I mean, just living in that little box with all these, you know, fucking the Overton window, the traditions, the whatever, oh, afraid to climb up the ladder. It's like, why? I mean, look, you know, there is physical force involved in certain situations. Yeah, you try to climb up the ladder, they're gonna jump you. Okay, you're not probably just gonna do it like that. But maybe you can reason with these people and be like, dude, why can't we climb up the ladder? If nobody has an answer, and then you really analyze the situation, you have like an unnecessary fear there. You have an unnecessary barrier to your own, like, prosperity that's just there. It's like a fucking tradition or something stupid. It's like, why the fuck can't we climb up the ladder? And these monkeys are monkeys. They don't ever think like that. Just like, oh, freak out, and you don't do it. We're humans. I'm asking right now, why the fuck are we doing certain things? You know what I mean? You should not be afraid to ask questions. You should not be afraid to look at a situation and say, why the fuck are we doing this? Especially understanding what I just explained, how we have a lot of traditions that are passed on that were like solutions to problems that don't even exist anymore. The people that, you know, kind of propose them are long gone. We're a whole new generation. It's going to keep being like that. Shit that I'm talking about today, what's relevant today, I might say, oh, okay, let's make a rule where we don't do this. It might be relevant for a problem today. In the future, it's just, you know, it's not even going to be a relevant concept. Here, let's make a law that says don't fucking, you know, whatever it might be. There might just be, like I said, horses in the fucking park past 3 p.m. Nobody has horses, so it's not even relevant. You know what I'm saying? It's just, there's shit like that. It's always gonna, I mean, people gotta constantly, like, and it's like what do you want to call it? It's like excess baggage almost. It's like you gotta, like, clean house type shit. Like, why do we have all this stupid old shit that's just getting in our way of our own prosperity? You know what I mean? We could be climbing it. Why can't we climb the ladder, guys? Nobody has an answer. Okay, we could be climbing this fucking ladder, eating these fucking bananas right now. If the experimenters came in, then they say, oh, okay, that's why, you know? But But they have no concept of the experimenters. If they did have a concept, then it'd be okay. You know why? Because the experimenters are gonna come in and fuck us up. And sometimes people might forget. There might be reasons that there is fucking tradition, certain things like that, and then you might be quickly reminded if you forgot. There's a lot of basic human behavior, human nature, like respect and stuff like that, certain tradition that is relevant. It's not, and that's the thing, it could be dangerous sometimes. I've talked about a certain thing that I call kind of like I call it the war cycle. I'll actually make a video about that in a minute. I don't think I explained it clearly, but like sometimes people fuck up the order in a situation and everything goes crazy, and then people fucking go crazy and like start fighting, and then once they fight, they're finally like, okay, let's all just stop and negotiate and create some type of peace treaty and order. And then they create that, and then they go forward in time and they forget about it, and the same thing happens again. They start breaking down barriers and fucking everything gets out of order, and then they fucking go crazy, and they say, okay, everybody stop, let's make a agreement. And it's a thing that fucking happens. Maybe I just made a video about it right now. I'll probably make a whole other video about it. But either way, I think we can cautiously analyze certain things. Why, like everybody in there, in the cage, why can't we climb the ladder, guys? And if nobody has an answer, let's try. And then cautiously go up the ladder and keep an eye out. Be like, okay, I don't see anything happening. Maybe take one more step, nothing happens. If the guy comes in, they're like, okay, that's why. You can cautiously do stuff like that. It's kind of like somebody says like, oh, don't go in that house. You're like, why? It's like, I don't know, because somebody said there's some crazy in there. You say, well, I want to find out for myself because I don't know if that's true. And so you just cautiously explore. You can cautiously explore. And, if something sketches you out, jet. You know what I'm saying? And that's so relevant to kind of expanding our own freedom, is this cautious exploration. I think there's a lot of these traditions that are kind of just like I said, solutions for problems that existed. And a lot of them are kind of like just over restrictive, like just, somebody might have robbed a house at 3 a.m. Now the city says nobody can be out past 11 o'clock. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like one guy's gonna fuck it up? No, and that's just an over restrictive measure that's kind of like the proposed solution for one problem. And there's a lot of things like that. And so to gain our maximum freedom and be more functional, functionality is important for peace and just living, right? We have to be able to move and do what we got to do, And so for the maximum level of that, we have to not create, these over restrictive measures and, kind of explore cautiously to kind of figure out what exactly a problem is, to kind of create a measure just for that one specific thing. You're not just gonna say, okay, nobody out past 11 o'clock. It's like, dude, no, let's just nab this one guy, lock him up, and it's all good, And even then, you can look at the guys like, hey, did you learn your lesson? It's like, you don't gotta lock him up forever, Like, that's an over restricted measure too, Like, did he learn his lesson? Is he gonna do it again, And, I think we have a lot of these over restricted measures. I think we have a lot of traditions which are, solutions for problems in the past, which are these over restricted measures. And I feel like they just get in our way of prosperity, of living, of doing just living in general, It's stupid. It's annoying. So I'm all about increasing our degree of freedom to like the highest reasonable level. Like, there is real caution that people need to take. You don't just say, hey, let's just fucking set the forest on fire. Why not? No. If you just, there's foresight, there's real caution, there's reasons for a lot of things, rules and stuff. But I think there is a lot of traditions, if not like written law, that we have that are just kind of restrictive. It's just like sometimes it's just unwritten things, unwritten rules, like why the fuck do we all wake up at 7 a.m. and get the shit going? Why don't we just go to work when we want to? I don't know, stuff like that, There's a lot of things like that. Why do we do things this way as opposed to that way? We never really talk about it. We just do things a certain way. It just became a thing. That's what I call de facto agreements. Talked about that. And that's all relevant. Why do we do things this way? Look, one thing that I talk about a lot It's capitalism. We have capitalism. The world works with capitalism. Why are we living in a capitalistic system? Like, if we can like totally become functional, like cooperative, we can like literally like plan our whole world out, manage resources carefully. There won't be waste. There won't be, excess production and whatever. We can manage our resources carefully and like fucking handle the business like nicely. A lot of people think that's like socialism or something. I do like free market capitalism. I think people need that freedom to trade as they want to, but generally as a whole, if we can be more cooperative and manage our whole situation here on planet Earth, I feel like we can create a much more, efficient system, if nothing else. With less overproduction, less waste. Like capitalism, they build an iPhone that's like made to break, and then you throw it out and buy another one. It's like, dude, just make something that's not gonna break. Like, it's literally, the incentives are there for like sabotage. Like, if they want to sell bottled water, they can go poison your water source. You know what I mean? The capitalistic system is like a setup for sabotage, and it's for profit. And it's not a good setup. If we like literally just can cooperate properly and manage our whole situation, dude, we can have a much better fucking situation. We can be more efficient. We can make sure everybody has what they need to survive. We can, just a general prosperity and, I guess benevolence and maybe what's that word? Generosity, whatever. What's that word I'm looking for? Charity, general charity. So yeah, if we, that's just another example. Like, we just have these systems that are just here. Why do we have the system like this? Capitalism is just a major one. Like the political system in the United States, like, it's functional, but it's like, if we can probably make something a lot better. And this goes to what I was talking about earlier. I've talked about this before with like something that's just kind of improvised and thrown together that works to get you down the street a little bit, but then you're gonna have to like, repair it and fix it up a little bit. You just keep adding on to this thing. It's like a clunker that you just like fucking improvise and made in your garage. It's gonna, if you keep like fixing it and changing it up, it'll keep going. But if you like sit there and like literally like plan everything out and like create something, like intentionally like engineer it, you're gonna have something that goes a lot further down the road. You know what I mean? And it's highly relevant. So there you go. Hopefully people grasp all this stuff and whatever. I'm gonna get to walking. This was just a break. Glad you guys listen. I do know the value of the stuff I'm saying. You don't gotta like fucking, I'm not fooling myself here. And whatever. I understand what I'm saying, don't worry. So I hope people have an ear to listen. And I hope this does have a positive impact in the world. So thank you guys for listening.